It is the second day in December 2014, and that means it's time for my second vlog, because what would be the point of daily December without vlogging daily? So the thing I wanted to talk about today is plot in role-playing games. Plot is a literary term to describe the main events of a story and how they follow each other. So how are they related to each other by cause and effect, or simply by time and things like that. The thing with plot and role-playing games is the whole cause and effect thing is pretty difficult, because the main cause that causes effects should be your player characters. And coming up with all different commutations of how they will react to one situation or another can be pretty difficult and nearly impossible if you try to do that for a whole adventure. So, how do you create plot then? I would recommend to don't. Do not try to make up a story and then play it out. That will not work. You will have to bully your characters or your players into following your plot, and that's not the point of role playing. As I said yesterday, the game master should be as often surprised by the things that happen in the game as the other players are. And so don't plot out everything. You should definitely prepare, and I will talk about that tomorrow. But don't prepare a story and try to just play that out. That is exactly why it usually goes really, really wrong if some game master is like, okay, I've read this great book and now we will play its story because I loved it so much. Or I've seen this great movie and now we will play out this movie. Who really wants to do that? I want to make my own decisions and have them an effect on the gaming world. And yeah, I just want to recreate a story that you've read or that you've made up. So yeah, how do we go about plot then? First of all, some of the decisions your player characters or your players will make are pretty foreseeable. You will usually be able to say under what circumstances they will probably help somebody, under what circumstances they will get involved, or what it needs to get them involved. Will it be a few gold coins, or a few euro bucks, or what's it called in Sharon Nguyen? Or will it be some kind of emotional investment? Does somebody have an extended family and always some uncle that's in difficulties? And or are they other player characters police? Part of the police force, and pretty much they have to react to somebody breaking the law. All these can be plot hooks, and yeah, that's why the main show is called the Plot Hook In. You should really have a plot hook, but the plot that your players get hooked in should really be created by them. So you should definitely know what will happen if they do certain things, and this doesn't have to be a rigid structure, but you will generally know if some NPCs are involved, what will push their buttons, what's their personality, what are their resources. So if a player character say insults an NPC, how will the NPC react? And that's a major plot point. The cause is the action of the player character. The effect is the NPC reacting to that, according to the personality, to the situation the NPCs, and to the connections and resources the NPC has. So what you should plot out are the NPCs and how they interact with each other and with the world. What you can also plot out are kind of trigger events, places that the player characters visit, actions that they take. It's really easy to say, okay, when they walk into this bar, a brawl will break out, and the cause of the brawl will be this and that somehow relates to the rest of the story. The only thing that can go wrong with that pretty much is that your player characters don't go to that bar, but yeah, just make it the only game in town, and they will probably show up there sooner or later. So yeah, the plot. Don't overemphasize the plot. Go for the NPCs, go for singular events and triggered events that happen, and put all that together to one big story and one big plot, and then a story later. And don't try to plot out everything in advance. So, see you tomorrow.